Lizzie, who's also an actress. In a few of my recent live streams, what did I say?
You just didn't say one way or the other. It's okay.
My fiance Lizzie, my roommate, and my chosen roommate for life going forward. We met on a set. She's an actress. And how did we get on set? That is a great question that no one asked, but that I will answer. But people have asked, actually. They have asked in TikTok lives I've done. They have asked in lives I've done on YouTube here. So I thought I'd give you some, hi Kimberly. I thought I'd give you some advice on headshots that people have been asking about. Because it's hard to figure out where to start in acting, but headshots is maybe the most important thing early on to give casting folks an idea of what you look like, what kind of character you're gonna look like, and they get that all just from a picture of your head. So I have some of my old ones here because how would you know what a, yes, I remember you, Kimberly. How would you know what a good headshot is? How would you know what a bad headshot is? Isn't it just a picture of your face? Could you have your friend take it? And the answer is no. You should have a professional take it because the professional casting folks will know what is really well done, what is perfectly in focus, what is the trend at the time of what headshots should look like, what they expect to look like back in the day. Not even too long ago, they used to all have to be in black and white just because that was the trend. Whereas now headshots, there is a little more leeway. And if you're only auditioning for commercials, then your headshots would want to be brighter and bolder. Whereas if you want to audition for movies, which I had a movie audition today, Life is Good. But if you want to audition for movies, then you maybe want like a darker, dramatic look. And I had a movie audition today where my agent manager used my headshot, and that's the first thing the casting person saw to submit me. But I'm going to show you a few examples of my earlier ones that weren't that good. So this was like one of my first ones where, like, yeah, I guess it looks okay, but once you start to see and notice the trends, which I'll show you, this actually isn't a great headshot because I'm outside in front of a tree. That's not amazing. And the look on my face doesn't necessarily epitomize the type of characters I would go for at the time. Lizzie always plays a cute next door girl because that's her perfect role. But yeah, not too bad. And then this one was my other first headshot that I sent on. Again, I'm in front of a tree. I'm outside. The lighting's not great. The way it's like hitting my side of my face and neck. You can't really see the full like shadows of my normal face. So that's why both of these would probably be not great. And I didn't have a professional take them at the time. So it kind of showed. And at the time I thought they were good. But there are, actually, if you look really close, there are parts of it that are out of focus. And casting people in the Hollywood and entertainment industry, no matter where you are, would see these as not being professional. So again, being an actor who doesn't have much money, I tried to save money by getting more headshots done by not a professional. Because I was still early in my career, I didn't think they would matter. So then I got this done, and this is kind of funny because I actually used this headshot to send this envelope to casting directors to get them to open the envelope for casting. And I like tried to make it funny by putting these little post-its, and I sent a few hundred of these out to different casting directors in Hollywood. But again, this isn't me. So you want your headshots to have the essence of who you are, what you look like, and what kind of roles you want to get cast for. And while I do like playing the bad guy and an evil guy, and I just had an audition today for a bigger movie where I play a nice guy who ends up being a bad guy. If this was the headshot we submitted for that role, I don't think I would have gotten the audition. So then I signed with my manager, who sort of like guides my career, as opposed to my agent, who's just more focused on getting me auditions. My manager was like, all right, time to get professional headshots. And that's what I did. So my first ever professional headshot, I have a few of them here, but this is one of them. Hello, normal person. So this is like the first professional headshot I ever had done, and it's okay. And then I had, you want a smiling one too. So this is my guy next door look. Also one of my first professional headshots. I didn't have a friend take it or anything like that. And then, and then I had one more in that session, so I had multiple looks. This. So this was my other first professional headshot. And this one could be a guy like, oh, maybe he's nice, but maybe he could be the killer at the end, which is a lot of the roles I enjoy going out for. I enjoy getting cast for. And now for Netflix series and things like that, those are the roles as like more like this guy. But after a while, like casting kind of gets used to your headshots, and maybe they start passing over. Like, oh, we'll bring somebody else in for some of these auditions that I still want to get brought in for. So you have to stay fresh, and you have to get, I don't know, more headshots, like different look. Maybe there's a photographer who'll kind of get a different essence out of you than other photographers can. So that's why, let's see if I can find. That's why I got headshots from a new photographer that my manager really liked after a little bit to just to stay super fresh. And this was because she wanted me to play like more detective type roles, which all the ones I showed you so far were like guy next door. Hey, Random Boris. Yeah, so I'm now starring in a movie called called Legacy on Amazon Prime. And this was, I think, the headshot used to get me into the room for the auditions for that show, for Legacy. So I've been acting for about 5 years. And probably have like one set of headshots per year almost in 5 years. I didn't start acting until my late 20s, so it was tough. And then I even made my manager want us to make some marketing materials. So she also gave this to casting directors, which basically is like sort of, I created this myself of like, hey, I can play the leading man, but I also can play other different types of roles. And these are things that have been said about me as an actor. And my training is very important. So I have like a list of people I've trained with, and the list has now grown since then. But yeah, these are all different materials, and then it says like the type of words people describe me as. So this is helpful for casting. They're like, okay, we see the picture, but what else? So anything they can see in like a quick snapshot, because there's thousands and thousands of actors, will help casting kind of get an idea of who you are, and then give them an idea of what you would be like if they cast you. And while you also, what was the name of the movie he's gonna act? It's called Legacy on Amazon Prime, and then I also just auditioned for one today, and I've been auditioning for Netflix projects. No problem, doggy. Okay, so I'm only gonna do a few more minutes because I have to run somewhere, but I did want to show people would ask about headshots. So those were the main headshots. I have a few other newer ones. Actually, my profile picture actually on here, and then you could also go to my Instagram as well. I posted some of my older headshots. But I think that kind of gives you an idea of why and how they're important. There's a book by I have to go soon, sorry. But yeah, like an audition today, for example, was just a few pages, and my fiance Lizzie like read the other lines. So for an audition, it takes about, I don't know, it could take about an hour because you want to get a good take, but you don't want to spend forever doing a scene for casting, and then because then you keep second guessing yourself, and then you keep almost like predicting, or like you almost like edit yourself as you're talking. You're thinking about like, ooh, last time I liked this and I didn't like that. And if you're too mechanical in a scene and don't let it flow freely, that can ruin the scene. But a big thing, going back to the headshots, is when a casting director brings you in for an audition to look at you, while you should be original and make original choices for that character and in that scene, they're kind of expecting at least the essence of the person they saw in your headshot. So you always want to sort of bring that into every audition you do, is like, and that's a good place to start, is like, okay, the casting director saw this headshot before even looking at my acting reel, like my demo reel of any like little pieces of monologues or acting I've done. The headshot was the thing that kind of got me here. So what about the headshot do I think spoke to them? What kind of character was it? Like that detective I played. I have other headshots that are just online. Legacy is a action sort of thriller. It's not horror. But yeah, you should ask yourself, like, what about the headshot? Is it one where I'm playing a doctor, or kind of have the essence of a doctor or a lawyer or a detective? Um, can you be a good actor if you do modeling? Yes, lots of models have gone on to become great actors. It's not. It's usually good to have a look in Hollywood. Um, but acting is more about like living reality in front of a camera. So if you can really live real emotions in front of the camera and not act, that's good. My favorite headshot. My favorite headshot is probably one I actually have been using online since COVID hit and quarantine. Like most of my auditions are basically self tapes. Like I just tape against a white wall in my room here with like really good lighting. But I got some amazing headshots done like a year ago, and they just live on my computer. I haven't had to get them printed because the reason I get these printed out is because when I would go to an audition, the casting directors would literally expect me to hand them my headshot at the start of the audition so they could look at it. And when I hand them the headshot, I actually have my resume print like stapled to the back of the headshot. So I've done auditions like Paramount Studios where like NCIS and some other Netflix shows are filmed. And when I go in, the casting brings me in. I walk up to the movie studio and I bring my headshot, and then my resume is right on the back here. And that's the way it's done for when you go in person. But so much for the past few years has been online. My new set of headshots are all online, so I can show them sometimes too. I've gotten headshots about technically 4 times. And I probably should get newer ones soon. I've got a little more like gray in my beard, a little more gray on the side of my hair. And I could just give them sort of a different look. I've done headshots where I'm more of a detective, more of a doctor, more of a guy next door. I could maybe do even more like with a little more gray hair, a little more evil. So we'll see. But that's, yeah, I always feel awkward in acting. And sometimes acting, just to answer a question here from Abby, sometimes it's good to feel awkward in acting because that makes your behavior interesting for the camera if you don't think about the awkwardness too much. Just sort of let it play out. And I do love acting. That's why I'm here. That's why I do TikToks. That's why I do YouTubes. And that's why I'm going to keep doing more of these 10-minute videos of how to get started, what to do in an audition, how to film a self-tape audition. I'll do lots more coming up. But for now, I have to go, and I will talk to y'all soon. Thank you for watching.